Hello, everyone. We are going to be getting started in just a moment. Oh, Pollyanna. Hi. All right, Alex, do you want to go ahead and get started?
Sure. I'll get started. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are, everyone, to this session, where we will be talking a little bit about a topic that some have shown quite some interest, and that is to tag or not to tag. So I'm just going to start. I have a few slides, so I'm just going to share now. Okay. All right, so basically, my name is Wong. I'm the Senior Director of Business Information System at FIDF.org. And today we're going to talk about the topic called to tag or not to tag. So the question is, should you tag a constituent record based on giving details? That could be anything like donor category kind of details. How much does a person give in terms of like the range of dollars? Is this person like a recurring donor, a monthly recurring donor that's a sustainer for your organization? And any other pieces of information that is based on gift details. So gift records details. So obviously one of the things one way that we look at this particular question is don't use a tag. So no tag use. We're not using constituent code. We're not using a constituent attribute, which on the web view is called custom fields. So basically you'll create like a constituent query or export using summary of gift information and then like work your magic with that summary of gift in terms of its criteria, date ranges, and maybe campaign fund and appeal, maybe gift type, things like that. And then when you run the report, you'll know who is what, right? The pro of this method is that there's nothing extraneous that needs to be done from a data perspective. You're not changing any data within your database. You're basically based on the data that's already pre-existing, which will be there, which are gift records. However, the con of this situation is that it's not exactly easy to quickly tell who is what, right? Where is the constituent level? Let's say we're talking about levels. If your organization have like a donor society or donor appreciation recognition group, things like that, where you have 100,000 plus, it's like a platinum type of donor. Gold is between anywhere like say 25,000 to 100. Silver if it's 10 to 25, and that's your levels, let's say, right? By simply looking at a constituent record, you're not going to be able to tell if John Smith is a gold, silver, or platinum, unless, making it easy, he made a $1 million gift and he's a platinum. But if he has like a dozen gifts, let's say, the fundraiser will have to sit there and do some mental math if they're good at that, or export that information and then do that math somewhere else, like Excel, or if they still prefer a gold napkin, do that. But it's not exactly easy to tell in this particular manner. So a lot of time, what we some organization end up is using a tag, which is founded upon by some, for example. So first of all, let's talk about what do you mean by user tag. So first of all, a lot of people, including myself, do not think we should be tagging on constituency code, even though how easy it is to use constituency code. But let's not go down that rabbit hole and say constituent custom field. So let's say you have a constituent custom field called your donor giving society, let's say like that. So you can use global add, change, or import to tag the constituent. And then, however, you'll need to run this on a regular basis, being daily, weekly, monthly, in order to keep the tag up to date, because you know that GIF are incoming every single day. Incoming GIF will potentially change the status or the level that a particular constituent is going to be in. So the pro of this method is you can easily tell if a constituent is at a particular level, of course, given the lag time of that refresh, right? So if a fundraiser go into John Smith record, he'll see on the constituent tag that say, oh, he is my platinum level donor. He is my silver level donor. I should treat him with certain types of methodology of fundraising. So without having to do some math wherever they tend to do that. The con of this particular method is resource intensive, and which is why a lot of time is founded upon by our by database managers, CRM support, because they have to do this running of the daily, weekly, monthly tagging in order to keep this piece of information up to date. And as turnover happens, a lot of time what happens is these processes is lost, and you have old data sitting in the constituent record, and then you get more problems with the fundraiser saying, hey, my donor is a platinum, why is this say silver on his record? So it also is a problem in itself. However, a lot of times the discussion is that you have two sides of the coin, where resource intensive, but it has the benefit for the fundraiser. And when it comes down to it, your executive is going to make some decision and say, you know what, our fundraiser being able to tell quickly and make the decision on how they will approach the donor is more important. And I'm going to put the money where my mouth is. Hopefully they say they're going to put the money where the mouth is and hire people resource enough to do the tagging. So there's always been this debate between to tag or not to tag. Now, with us all being in developer conference, we all know that there's something that developer can do about this. So let's move on to our next slide here. So there's actually two solutions that I'm going to talk quickly about. One is Power Automate to do the tagging. So Pro, obviously you'll be easily able to tell if a constituent is at a particular level because we are actually doing the tagging. So they will see if someone is at a certain level. And it's up to date as of the refresh time of the automation. Let's say you do this automation on a nightly basis, or you do this automation on like twice a day. You'll keep it up to date as close to your refresh time as possible. And it's not resource intensive because you're not actually having a human running reports, doing the tagging, updating tagging, removing tagging. So all of that is automated using Power Automate or any other automation software that you may choose to use. There are a few other out there. However, Power Automate is one that I currently use, and I do think it's a very good one to use. The con of this here is it does require a one-time investment that have someone having that programmatic skills or low code, high code, depending on how much you want to do here. To actually create this automation using the automation tools such as Power Automate and Sky API. So additional consideration of this particular solution is that are we going to check and tag all constituents? Or are we going to check and tag only constituents that have last changed it within the last 1-2 days, depending on your refresh timer, right? So you will need some sort of strategy to work this, depending on like your constituent size, depending on how many records are you receiving, how many gift records are you receiving on a normal daily basis, because this may cause you to go over your API limits. Your API limit is 25,000 API call per 24 hours period. So let's say you have 50,000 constituent record, and if you're going to check and tag every record every night, you're not going to be able to do so because you're going to run over that API limit. There are other ways to deal with this particular situation, but I'm not going to go too deep into that. So comes the solution 2 is basically the ability to not do tagging at all, but still have all the benefits of as if there was tagging. So basically, it is a situation where you can build using Sky API, Sky add-ins to build a custom tile onto a constituent record on the web view. Of course, if someone is in the database view, they're quote unquote out of luck. But as our direction, as our Blackbaud RENXT direction goes, our fundraiser should really be on the web view. So what this solution is about is to create a custom tile that basically puts onto the constituent record. Within that tile, it has the logic to calculate at the moment the page is loaded. So you're on John Smith record. John Smith record custom tile will then load, and it will use the GIF information that is right then and there available at the time you loaded John Smith record. So the refresh timer is a lot closer to real time. I do say a lot closer because there is still a Sky API lag time, a refresh time that potentially up to 30 minutes, I believe. So I'm not going to talk too deep into that. However, close to a lot closer to real time. So the pro here is obviously it'll be, again, easy to tell if a constituent is at a particular level, like I said, near real time. And that is not, again, resource intensive. No one actually have to lift a finger here. No one has to tag anything because there is actually no tag. Again, once again, the con here is you do need a one-time programming expertise, low code, or a little bit of high code, depending on how complex you want your tile to look, using Power Automate, Sky API, and Sky add-ins. And that solution will actually help drive like efficiency within your organization going forward. So it's one-time done deal, and then it's going to work. Of course, it's going to work up until when you change it. So let's say, for example, if your platinum level was 100,000 plus, and suddenly you're doing so well in your organization and you want to say, okay, you know what? We have so many platinum and we got to reduce that. It's going to be 200,000 annual in the last 1 to 2 years in order to be considered platinum. Then you just go ahead and go into you do need to go back into your automation and change that amount to reflect the change in business policy. But as long as just business policy doesn't change, once the programming of the custom tile is done, it's going to forever work on your environment. Well, forever work, I'll put that in quote. You never know, technical errors sometimes happens, and then you may need to troubleshoot, but we're going to leave those exception situation aside. So that's the end of my slide, to be honest with you. Now, what I want to do is see, I have spent 13 minutes so far. So let me see how far I can get to actually demo how we can do this work. So first of all, the easy thing to do is to use an adaptive card. So you might have heard adaptive card multiple times in developer conference already. Here, adaptive card is pretty easy way to display custom pieces of information directly as a custom tile on RENXT. So that's why a lot of people do talk about it, and it's pretty easy to do as well. So, however, you may feel this is a drag and drop, so it's pretty easy. So you can add like various containers, information. However, if you do feel that, you know what, still a little bit high code that I want it to be, some of you may have heard of it. You could actually, which is ChatGPT, is actually okay, good in creating adaptive card for you, and then you can mess with it a little more. So for example, we can do something quick, like create an adaptive card to display an image on the upper left, and then a header title text on the right, and at the bottom show a dollar amount. Let's say something like that. We'll go ahead and create some code for you. So once it's done, you can just simply copy that code, pop it into your designer. Don't need to worry about this. So here, pretty simple, right? We have an image, we have a title, we have a currency. So what is these three pieces? I'm just trying to keep it real simple, but you can make it more complex if you like. So let's say our gold, platinum, silver actually has an image. So for example, let's say platinum, gold, silver, ribbon. Right? So maybe something like this. And as we determine if someone, a constituent, is a platinum, gold, or silver level, we may want to actually display that image right there. And then we have a title that say, hey, platinum member. So for example, this may say platinum member. And then here we're gonna display the amount of money that this person has given. Again, it depends on your organization definition. It could be lifetime amounts given. It could be this year amount given or last year amount given, but you can put it up with all of this text. So example, like fine print, so to speak, where I can just simply add something at the bottom and say, you know what, calculated by total giving in the previous year. Something like that. And then you put that amount with the calculation in here, and as well as that image. Right now, it's just give me a, well, I'm not sure why it gave me a very unhappy image. Maybe ChatGPT is unhappy today. But we're going to put in a little bit of a happier image. It's at the end of the day, just a link to an image. So you might want to put this image somewhere on your CMS, like your website, so that you can actually reference to that image. So depending on your level, you can go ahead and put whatever image needed here. So we have a basic adaptive card. So here we can go ahead and then, again, this session is not particularly about teaching you how to create a custom tile, how to create a custom tile with adaptive card. So I don't want to get into all the little details about, okay, creating the application on developer.com and then creating the add-ins, which are some of the steps, right? We have other session. One of my session yesterday, what was my session yesterday? I forgot. Actually talks about how to do add-ins and adaptive cards and things like that. But anyway, when I remember, I'll put it in the chat or mention it again. But regardless, once we have an adaptive card, it's pretty easy where you can go ahead and go to your go to Power Automate. And in Power Automate, something that you may or may not be aware of, you can use templates. And within the templates, if you search for Blackbaud, there is already template for adaptive cards. So basically, if you create a flow using a template such as this, you can go ahead and pop in your adaptive card into the template, and then it will get displayed into the into your Razor's Edge environment. Now, like I mentioned, I'm not here to actually develop a tile. So what I wanted to do is to show you the result of solution number 2, so you can see what the possibility are that is there. So actually, I'll come back to it. I want to let you see what the end goal is, so that you can, and then we can go into some of the details once if we have enough time to do so. So let me just go to my RENXT, and I do need to be careful and not show any PII. So let me just scrape some PII information out, and then I can show you what this is about.
Alex, while we wait, we do have one question
Sure.
from Aaron asking, can you pull this info into a query or list later, say to get a list of all silver members?
So 1 second while I have the, hold on 1 second. I'll answer that question momentarily. Yeah, okay. So yes, the fortunate and unfortunate is that one, because these are calculated, right? So what if you need a list, as long as it is your business requirements, your business policy around the donor level is configurable in this, which in a sense I don't believe so. You have to do it in database query. Actually, you could set up a database query, but again with method one, right? Method one where we do no tag, you have to set up a query. So you could set up a query that has the same criteria and use that. So that's one method. Second method, which also related to developing, is that you could create a Power BI where it displays the constituent and their giving levels and whatever other information, including their platinum, gold, or silver statuses, onto the Power BI, and then use that Power BI to show to be the list. It's not using RENXT WebView default list, but you actually create a custom Power BI list that can then be shown, and people will be using that list instead, which also means they don't need to go into the database query and know how to run a query and all that stuff. A lot of time nowadays, especially the non-CRM database people, they are not familiar with querying or running queries. And we want them to be in the web view. And the way to do so would be to create something that you can put onto the web view for them. And that is something you could do by using Power BI or any visualization method, and then just create that directly into RENXT. It'll feel as if to the fundraiser, oh, I'm just in RENXT. That's the beauty of the whole Sky platform, in a sense, where you are able to create something custom and pop it into RENXT or FENXT and make it feel directly as if they are accessing RENXT. Okay, so coming back to what I was going to show, I am going to scrape the name, change the name to John Smith, and remove the spouse information here. Just want to make sure I'm not showing anything that could be a problem. That should be good enough. Okay. Let me bring this over here. Okay. So I changed the name to John Smith. That's just browser stuff that I scraped. So basically, this is the custom tile that I was talking about. And this is a adaptive custom tile as well. Again, you can create this using ChatGPT, telling them, oh, I want this here, I want this piece of information there, and continue to add on. And then you can program your flow to do something like this, where again, you have a little image on the upper left that represent silver, gold, platinum. You have a title that tells them that, hey, this is a silver member within your giving society. Our definition is based on their last year and this year giving. So we display their last year and this year giving. So it's clear how much they gave that enters them into this society, right? And then of course we, with any society membership, there's expiration, and we just put that expiration in there. Some of you may have the question of, what about membership module? I'll touch that in a second. So will expire at a certain time, date and time, depending on their giving situation. And then obviously any disclaimers that you want to place in here, or explanation. Okay, it's based on this, it's soft credit, it's based on refresh, when is it refreshed, things like that. So all the information is right there in front of you without needing to actually look at their giving history, which I'm not going to click on, and then do the mental math or the napkin math thing that someone was joking about. So again, this is what's possible from the not to tag or not to tag question that we have. We chose not to tag, so there's no maintenance, but still be able to display all the information that fundraiser need to do their job. This will allow them to easily see that John Smith, he's a silver member, he has the benefit of a silver member, and then when I talk to him, I should treat him as a silver member. Maybe he's a borderline gold member, and he can then talk to him, oh, you're borderline in gold member, and gold member have such and such benefit more than silver member. Why don't you give extra? What extra to get you over that line? And that's something that can easily be done with a custom tile like this for the fundraiser, rather than them doing the mental math or like always calling up the CRM team. Hey, can you tell me if this person is what? That kind of situation. So I'm going to move that out of the way. Again, here I'm just to talk about the possibility of what to do. What can you do in this particular scenario, which I believe is pretty widespread. I have heard on the community a lot from others that feel one way or another when it comes to tag or not to tag. And hopefully this opens you up to a third possibility. Well, there's two solutions, but I like this possibility even more than the actual tagging using automation, but gave you two solutions that you can think about and consider for your own next project to do when the executive comes to you about, hey, we want to roll out a society program. You could do this. That is what the intention of this session is about. However, again, if you want to learn more about how do you actually create the adaptive card, you know what? We still have some time. Let's go into a little bit of that. I don't know if I'm going to finish too much of it, but since we have a little time, let's go into a little bit of it. Right, so we have an adaptive card when we go into templates, and then using a Blackbaud templates that you can go ahead and start with something. So you don't actually have to start from scratch. So I'm not going to use the new designer because there's still some bug with it. So basically here, we're gonna able to do a couple of things. And the important steps that is here is this compose the adaptive card JSON. And ultimately what this is gonna respond back when, which is this here, we can basically take this JSON code that we changed, because we may change stuff like, okay, I wanna change this to some nicer color, for example, the size, the weight, right, or various different things. And once you make all the necessary, like not necessary, your desired changes, then you can just simply copy this code and place it into your adaptive card. Now, with that, then what? Oh yeah, that's just gonna give me like this plain nothingness. I have to give you something. You still have to put in the logic, right? What are your logic behind this? How are you going to say it's a platinum, gold, silver? So that's going to come from having some actions. Again, this is not a full-fledged situation. It's just that sometimes. So let's talk about it. You can use the Power Automate connector for GIFs, and basically list the GIF. Okay, so here we can specify the constituent. So obviously when you are using an adaptive card on a constituent record, like you build the adaptive card onto constituent record, what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to know which record it is. And that's going to come from a little adjustment, the information that's here, which is the property for records ID. This is the record ID of the constituent. So what that does is allow you to, oh, I want to get a list of GIF for this particular constituent that is being displayed. So I put in the records ID right in there. This is going to return all the GIF made by this constituent. Okay, now, of course, we can filter it down depending on what your policies are. For example, maybe we can say, okay, I'm only looking for dates, GIF dates, that is from last year, beginning of last year until this year. So you could do something like this. So if I'm going to write it in, you can do all of this more dynamically. For example, I could just put in 2023-01. That's just the time, which is not that important here. because gift date doesn't really have a timestamp. It's just the date of the gift. So I want starting gift date to be beginning of last year. And then I want the ending dates to be end of this year because I'm taking 2 years of giving into consideration. So 12/31. This will give me all the gift by this donor that is within these 2 date ranges. And additional things to consider will be the where to go. If it's not available, we can do it a different way. But yeah, it's not. I don't think I saw it here. Oh, there it is here. Gift type, because you may not consider all gift type. Because if you do consider all gift type, you may duplicate. Pledge and pledge payment is a duplication of the actual giving by the donor. So you want to deal with the specific type you wanted to return. So in this case, we're going to keep it simple and just say you want donation, just a straight cash gift. This will give you all of that information, and then within Power Automate, it will return the gift information for this donor, and then you can do additional logic to determine the sum of the gift by these by this donor, and from there, let's see. So I'm gonna use a little variable here. Total giving, and that's just going to be a float, and we're going to start out as 0. So basically what we're going to do here is we could go ahead and I don't think there is a direct function to just add up all the gift amounts, so you have to basically loop through every single gift and actually add it together to get the total giving amount within this period of time. And what you can then do a where did it go? I believe flow is a little it's not very nice in playing with variable, adding variables together. So unfortunately, I think I can there is a variable for increment. Yes. So what I can do here is I can increment variable, and I'm trying to increment this variable by the amount of the giving. Let's give the gift amount, the amount of gift, and basically what will happen here is after this looping through every gift of the gift that is returned, your total giving variable is going to have the total amount given by this donor within this period of time, within the any other criteria that you set for this particular donor. Then you can go ahead and do like your various conditioning that, say for example, if the total give is greater than or equals to 100,000, then you can set your like, I'm not going to go into too much of the, I think it may be a little boring now, maybe. So I'm going to stop. But basically the idea here is you will condition on the various different levels that you may have, and then you will assign, okay, what image am I going to use? What is the title that I'm going to put on here? And then obviously the amounts that go on, and what that is going to be dynamically generated prior to you create your adaptive card, where the amount is going to be put in. Instead of $123.45, I'm going to put in the total amounts that was given, which is calculated, and that's going to get displayed onto the page like you saw before with my with this here. Yep, still okay to show. So the calculation total will be then placed in. Now, of course, I can separate into different year with additional action, filtering and calculation. But here, I just want to show you what are the possibilities, and what's the way we did? The world is your oyster. Is that how you say it? That's how I feel about developer.blackbaud.com. When you go into there and explore what is possible, it is truly unlimited. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say unlimited. Limited to what Blackbaud allows you to do, and that is the API endpoint. So I always wanted to tell Blackbaud to give me more endpoints, and that will allow us to do even more in terms of like making all these custom available. But at the end of the day, I don't want you to lose the focus of why are we doing all of this. Is to actually solve a business problem, to make a more efficient process. Remember, we're going back to the to tag or not to tag. The to tag will be resource intensive. The not to tag will cost the fundraiser doing more work in order to do fundraising. So again, we're making the business fundraising process more efficient and also less human reliance. Well, I don't want to say that. Less human resource intensive. So hope you learn something from here and take it back as an idea and maybe put this to work as some project you will do in the future.
Awesome,
All
Alex.
right.
We have one more question, if you don't mind. I think we've got a few more minutes.
Okay.
From Dan, he asked, for the gift totals, what about soft credits?
I knew this question is going to come up. I kind of have an idea. It may be Dan or someone I know from the community. Okay. So yes, exactly what you said. If I were to only use the list gift endpoint, it's only going to give me gift information by the donor in direct credits. And that is, quote unquote, a problem for many organizations. I think soft credit is used by any and all organizations, especially when you're dealing with like foundation and death gift. It will be soft credit to the donor that actually, quote unquote, gave the gift. So yes, this method of gathering gift is, quote unquote, not going to work for soft credits. But can it work? Yes. You will need to do some form of data preserving of the data, meaning that either there's a couple of methods of doing so. Data warehouse is one of them. And where you put data warehouse, there's also a lot of choices from what we heard today, from like OneLake, Microsoft Fabric, to like Azure, to Azure SQL data warehousing and all of that stuff. There's many choices. But at the end of the day, what you need is a place where you can gather up all the gift. All gift, not just a single person's gift, because a single person's gift, soft credit is going to be difficult, like Dan said. So, meaning you can take all gift, which means all gift will be all gift, including gift that is on another record, DAF or foundation. But you have the details on who it was soft credit to. Wherever you store the information, then you query on that information such that you are taking gift with this constituent ID either due to direct credits or soft credits, and then get the amount given within that period of time and gift type. But like I said, that requires a prerequisites of sort, which is to have all gift within whatever period you want already stored somewhere. You're not going to get it directly from Sky API. Well, hopefully, I'm hopeful that one day Blackbaud is going to come out with a gift list endpoint that allow you to specify a constituent ID and it posts back all gift that's direct or soft credit, or give us the option to indicate if we want direct, soft, or both. So I'm hopeful that one day that may happen. Until that day where that endpoint is available, then you have to take all gift, store it somewhere, and then query that somewhere, and then take that out. Another option is if you're going to run a Power BI on giving levels and things like that, you obviously will already need the gift, all gift within that period, 2023, 2024, built into the Power BI already. So what this means is your Power BI is going to do the refresh and all of that stuff. However, you have done your transformation of the gift. Then instead of list gift, what you can do here is you can actually do Power BI connectors where you can query against, where to go, run a query against the data set. right? So you can actually query the Power BI dataset and say, hey, Power BI, tell me how much was given by this record ID, because the record ID will be in the Power BI dataset. How much was given? Give me that information, and you'll then do your various different conditioning of the levels, like the rest of the way. So you don't actually get the gift from Blackbaud through Sky API, but you get it from the Power BI that already have all of this information transformed in a way that is good for you to use in this tile. Hope that's answered your question.
Great. Well, if there are any more questions, but if there are, feel free to add them in the Q&A. For the last couple minutes, I'm going to launch a survey. If everyone could just take a moment to answer that with our last couple minutes. And I apologize, I didn't introduce myself at the beginning. My name is Meredith, and I'm a customer success manager here at Blackbaud. So if you are looking for more resources on Power Automate, Microsoft Power Platform, Power BI, I know Alex mentioned the developers community, that's a really amazing resource. We have monthly user groups for Power Automate and for Power BI. So if you have questions, you can reach out to your customer success manager. Or if you don't know who your customer success manager is, I can find out for you. I'll pop my email in the chat if you have any additional questions, or if you need help finding out who your customer success manager is. All right, any closing remarks from you, Alex?
No, that's pretty much it for me. But yeah, you know what? For those that's looking to get started, you have already mentioned developer.blackbaud.com, the community, the user group are where you want to start. It'll give you interesting ideas from others. It'll give you help from others. And if you're stuck somewhere, you can also get help on community. So some of the places you want to, like, quote unquote, bookmark and access to it easily. And if you truly want to create something interesting that will mind blow your executive, you want to stick with these sites. All right. Take care.
All right. Thanks, everyone.